Welcome back, everybody. You are listening to the Neighbor Ladies here at the Neighbor Ladies on the Alive and Social Network. We've got Karen, Jay, Suzanne, Boston, and me, Colleen. And Suzanne,
Yeah,
you wanted to start out the discussion.
I did. I wanted to talk about Planned Parenthood. Not that I want to beat it to the ground, but a couple things that I just wanted to say about it, that even though Planned Parenthood seems right now in the news to be firing back, as of August 14th, the governor from Arkansas, Asa Hutchinson, have you seen this guy? Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, he's just so against any funding for Medicaid payments to Planned Parenthood. And the saddest thing about this is, I mean, he claims that, you know, this is sort of a new thing that he's against. However, back in March, he was banning this back then. He was on a bandwagon back then. And the saddest thing about it is that only about 3% of the money that Planned Parenthood gets has anything to do with abortions.
Right.
It's
mainly about birth control.
It's about birth control. It's about gynecological visits for poor women. And all of that to be...
and that's what it's always been about. And those, I don't even know what group it was that had those purported sting videos.
Yes.
Where they...
Oh, my God.
And you can cut,
I know what group it was.
You can cut together anything. If you look up on YouTube, The Shining as a romantic comedy. Have you ever seen that? A group of film students used clips from the movie The Shining, and made it look like a romantic comedy.
Oh, God.
And it looks exactly like a romantic comedy, and that's exactly what happened with this Planned Parenthood business.
I know someone posted that on one of my threads today.
What?
The video where they talk about she had to cut open the face
it's
of a
horrible.
baby.
It's horrible. And you know who's doing it? It's this pro-life group that's doing it, although they claim that they're not. The Elliott Institute. And I don't even
like calling them pro-life. I like calling them anti-abortion, because the thing is, I've had every single child that I've ever been pregnant with, but I'm still pro-choice, because I don't know what it would be like if I were in a very, very bad situation. Nobody wants to have an abortion. Nobody does. No. Nobody has them just as a form of birth control either, unless you're incredibly I mean, I don't even know that happens, but
I don't think it does happen.
My God,
I think it's in the minority of people that do it. There are people that do it. It's sad, but
and I used to be an abortion counselor at Meadowbrook in the 80s, and the flack that the doctors took, the people that work there, we had our
in
tires
the 80s is
slashed.
when they started getting killed.
Oh God, it was horrible. I mean, they'd throw eggs at our cars. We had to park in a different area and take a shuttle.
Because that makes
work.
sense. If you're against death, then why don't you kill somebody? Right.
Right. And the people blocking the door, 90% of them were men, which always just pissed me off. You know, it's like, once again, this is not their choice. This is our bodies.
Yes, it is. I think men tend to feel powerless when it comes to the whole pregnancy thing. They feel like, I don't have a say in it. First of all, I don't have a say on if she gets pregnant or not. She can tell me she's on birth control, and maybe she is, and maybe she isn't. But I totally want to have sex because I'm a male animal, and so they just go for it and say a little prayer, I guess. I don't know. And then what if she is and she doesn't tell me?
Right.
And I feel, so they feel powerless.
Yeah.
And to this, and this is what I have to say to that: tough it up. Because we feel powerless too.
No
because
kidding.
There are plenty of times and plenty of situations where the shoe is on the other foot. And you know what? When I feel powerless? I feel powerless when my daughter, who is 27, walks to her car at night.
Right.
And or at all. I feel powerless when I make less money than you do, even though I have the same amount of experience and the same amount of education. And this is just one of those things. Nothing's ever going to be. We have to work together.
Right.
We cannot be at odds with each other. But you can't unilaterally say, here's what you can do with your own body. You absolutely cannot say that, and you shouldn't have any jurisdiction over it, because I mean, honest to God, they're trying to deny abortions to women who need them for medical reasons.
Exactly.
Back in before abortions were legal, before birth control was legal, I have a sister who's she's a gymnast. All right, she's got a naturally very, very tiny body, and she's always been tiny. She didn't, have. Traditional gymnast type stuff. Didn't menstruate until she was 17 years old.
Right.
I mean, just kind of a delayed thing altogether. But when she was pregnant, she had to have her kids by cesarean, right? Okay, and if she had this 50 years earlier, she'd be dead.
Exactly.
Should we just go back to that?
Yes. Yes.
No. No, we shouldn't. We need to get the word out about birth control, and the abortion thing is just it's an awful thing. It's a sick. It makes me sick talking about it, because I honestly, I had all the babies that I was ever pregnant with, and those were under very difficult circumstances, I might add. I was a welfare mother,
right?
So it was a very difficult decision for me to make. But I thought, you know what? I got to go through with this because I know that I can tough it out, right? The abortion was not the right thing for me to do. But if I were an incest case or a rape case, or if I was going to die if I had the baby, yes, I would have an abortion.
Right.
So,
and in all my time working at an abortion clinic at Meadowbrook, because there was only Meadowbrook and Planned Parenthood back then, and there was never a woman that walked through that door eager about the procedure.
Right.
It was there was always sort of a heavy feeling about it, and lots of shame, and it's and the people that would be standing outside. I remember one time my dad took me to work because my car wasn't working. He pulls into Methodist Hospital, and he said, "Oh my God, why are all these people here?" And I said, "This is what I go through every single day that I come to work. Men protesting.
What if men could get pregnant?
Oh my God.
Well,
would the conversation change then?
yes, it would.
In the back of my mind as you're talking, I'm wondering if we have issues with people not understanding choice for women.
Yeah.
Why don't we have the same problem with a man getting a vasectomy? Because aren't we dealing with some of the same things? Okay? Because it's their bodies. It involves having kids to a degree. It involves making that ultimate, decision.
Except that there's a vasectomy.
Technically,
reversible.
isn't the sperm the kid?
Technically.
Right, because we just have the egg. So every time a man spills sperm, isn't that kind of the same deal?
Yeah.
Right. So to me, it's like, now, we never deal with that issue. Oh, it's okay for the man to have a vasectomy. And the other thing,
it's not, they have to be,
I know it's a challenge because I've quizzed Mr. Boston on this procedure several times. I like to bring back that memory for him, a fond day in history for our family, and all the children know is Dad was going for the snip, and that's how I put it in the scrapbook. But
like he was a cat.
I know, like he was a cat. It was horrible. No. We had a fun thing. But you know what I'm saying? But the other
made the vasectomy fun.
Well, the kid, we were dropping him off at a hospital. Not a hospital, but you know what I mean. Anyways, I don't know why that is not.
And there weren't women protesting, were there?
There were not women. I think many women were happy about this in the family.
I'm surprised there weren't men protesting.
Right.
Yeah. But when you think about it, I mean, come on. I mean, that involves some pretty serious stuff. But, then the other thing going through my mind is how many of us would have been born. I know my mom was 17 when I was born, and there was no doubt in her mind she could have gone to New York for a backstreet abortion. That was a conversation that took place amongst my parents and
of course
my grandparents. It was a huge deal.
And she might have died.
And she might have died. And that's one of the conversations that I've had with my kids. Because, my kids have done the math, and my parents were very, very young, and my grandparents, I have a 98-year-old grandmother, and I'm a fossil myself. I'm over 29. So it's interesting, and it's interesting to talk about abortion with somebody that's 98.
Yes.
She used and I'm going off on another tangent about myself and my family.
So what'd she say?
What does she say? She used to tell all of us that if you don't vote for a candidate that is pro-choice, you're not an American. And she for a long time worked for the Democratic Party on that issue alone. And I think it's because she grew up at a time when she saw, and she has said this, that she saw so many women die from the situation of childbirth. Yeah. And it wasn't about politics as much as it was about women knowing themselves in their own bodies and men not understanding. And these were all things that men and women didn't talk about. And, we make jokes about talking about feelings. OMG, you're not going to talk about your ovaries with your husband and the situation there, So it's interesting, from that perspective. But I don't know. I just, we don't look at the guy's situation because, that's never brought up as an issue. Do you have the right to go in for a vasectomy? Why isn't that a political issue? Kind of a downer, I guess, is what I just brought up,
Well, on that note, I'll bring it even more down and tell you.
All right.
Just kidding. Well, it is kind of sad.
Wait. Can we?
Sure.
We're going to take a quick break and then we'll come back
okay.
on it. All right. Sure. You're listening to The Neighbor Ladies.
Meet your neighbor lady, Karen J. Karen J., where is the strangest place you have ever found a condom?
I would say it had to have been in a megabus bathroom.
It's only $1 to Chicago.
I've always had to pay like $29 to get there. But yeah, it was pretty gross.
Suzanne?
The strangest place I ever saw a used condom.
It doesn't have to be a used condom.
Well, okay, this happened to be. A church parking lot.
Oh,
after the mission trip.
That's a progressive
I've
church.
seen them there,
yes.
too. I've seen them, loose Lutherans.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Boston?
Wow, I would have to say on an airplane, in the bathroom, in first class.
Mile High Club.
Yeah, the Mile High Club. And, of course, I came out of the bathroom looking everybody in the eye, wanting to know the details. And who was it? I really did. I was hoping it was like a famous person. And then my eyes met this little old guy and this little old lady, and I got a feeling it was them.
Good for them.
I think her name was Ada.
Oh,
Ada.
Ada had a good time.
Colleen?
Where's the strangest place I ever found a condom? I like to have garage sales every year. And for a while there, after my second divorce, I was a free and easy gal of 42 who was still menstruating. And, so I had to buy some condoms, right? But I didn't have to buy a lot of condoms. I think I bought like a 100-pack because it was at Costco. No, seriously, true story.
Costco.
Like I was like...
Wow, next to the toilet paper.
They were $9, and you got like 100.
Wow.
And I was like, well, I'll just give them away, right? And I had all of these condoms. I still have condoms, free condoms at my house, right?
You got high school graduates.
I put them. I thought, where am I going to put all these condoms? And I thought, well, I'll put them in my bedroom, right? And then And somebody had given me this scented candle that I never use, and it was one of those Valspa scented candles, and I didn't like the smell of it. But those Valspa candles have a hinged lid on top of them, and so I shoved like 6 or 7 condoms, not used, but just in the package in there, and I slammed the lid down, right? And then a couple years later, I'm thinking, I really hate that candle. I'm going to put it in the garage sale. And I'm sitting out in my front yard, and I'm just like, because I don't have a garage because I rent. And I'm sitting out in my front yard, and everybody's picking up the candle and opening it. And I go, that doesn't smell very good at all. And that's what I kept saying to everybody. I kept saying, I'm trying to say it's a brand new candle. Those candles are like $60, but it doesn't smell good at all. I only lit it once, and they were all opening the candle, and they'd kind of halfway stick it to their face, and then they'd go back and they'd look at me, and I go, I know, and they'd shut it, and nobody fucking said a word. True story.
Oh
God.
Welcome back. You're listening to The Neighbor Ladies. What are we talking about? We were talking about birth control and the recent Planned Parenthood business. Arkansas is cutting funding for Planned Parenthood, which is, Arkansas. Way to go, Arkansas! You're like the lowest in, no, I think it's Mississippi, Louisiana,
right,
and what's their other neighbor? Who knows? I forget. But in Arkansas, good for you. Now no one can get birth control pills. But Karen J, you were gonna go on to something.
I was just gonna say that
because we were talking about abortions and
right.
and all that.
So I actually got pregnant twice when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
It was incest. My adoptive dad.
Oh my God!
The first time I was in elementary school, and at that time I wanted, I wanted to keep the baby. I could feel it growing inside me. I was probably in my second trimester, and then we went, and everybody knew. They're like, "Are you pregnant?" Because it's like nice out and warm, and I'm wearing like big baggy clothes. My teachers, everybody was asking.
Your teachers were asking?
They said, "Are you pregnant?"
How old were you?
I'm 9 or 10.
Wow.
It was right. It was before. I remember it was because it was the summer before junior high or middle school. So we went up north, where my grandma lives. She lives in Lake Park. So we went up further past that to a farm doctor, and he performed end of second trimester abortion.
Oh, mercy!
I remember hearing it, and hit the garbage can. Thud. It was fully formed.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember it being, I was really sad about it, even though I knew I was raped,
mm-hmm.
but it was this baby, right? So then they gave me some kind of sodium pentyl, I don't know what it was, to forget about it, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Then when I was 15, because he had continuously raped me.
Right.
It happened again, and that time, and the doctor had said, if it happens again, you're on your own. He said that to my dad. So it happened again. And then my neighbors were in on it too. They were like, "Hey, come next door and see our son's new drum set." And so they basically tied me down on this board and did a backdoor abortion with that coat hanger that my mom was
cauterized. And
yes,
all that. Yeah.
And okay. So the short version is I almost died, and my mom. Thankfully, she was a nurse at the time at Fairview.
Mm-hmm.
She brought me in the middle of the night because my mattress was completely bloody. I should have
mm-hmm.
died,
yeah,
but I didn't. So yeah, I think that it's important for women to get abortions the right way.
Yes,
mm-hmm.
because and I'm not even for abortions for myself.
Right.
Now I'm a mom. If I got pregnant now, I'd probably be like, shit. I didn't want to have a kid with a Mexican, but...
Exactly. That's exactly how I feel.
But I'm a mother now, and it would be really hard.
Well, right. And it's hard for everybody at any time.
Yes.
No one's walking in there with a party hat saying,
mm-hmm.
this is a great time. But it's, and that's what everybody would go back to.
Yeah.
Exactly what you had. I mean, if they were in a position
right.
where not necessarily through incest, maybe perhaps it's, maybe the guy's abusive. And it's just going to be, he's going to continue to abuse you, maybe kill you, and then maybe kill your kid.
Right.
Because God knows, that's happened. How many stories have we had in Minneapolis alone? That poor kid, his dad just admitted it, through
Barway Collins?
Barway Collins,
yes,
thank you.
That was
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's just...
But yeah, so it's
no
really...
one wants to do it.
Planned Parenthood is really important because... women need services. We need access to that stuff. And kids need access to that stuff. I mean, people don't think that incest and sexual assault happens a lot, but it really does.
Yeah,
and
they don't think it happens
back then,
because it's not in. It's
you
not
know, back
about.
in the 70s and 80s, like the laws hadn't progressed to help protect children. But now, even though they have kind of progressed now, kids need that access.
Yes,
they need places like Planned Parenthood for that.
Right, because you can just walk in.
Yeah.
And automatically be believed. And if your teachers, now think of that. Your teachers didn't say anything.
I mean, they said stuff.
But
what are the laws? There were no
laws protecting the children.
I mean, in the late 80s is when researchers started researching about incest. They just started in the very end of the 80s. Mm-hmm. So you know how long it takes for research to happen and then for it to become a law. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then it's like, well, can you film it? Can I film it? Well, how am I going to film it happening? And then what's going to happen when he finds the camera? He's going to beat the living crap out of me. You know what I mean?
Right. Everything is
like they're asking me this, and I'm just like, well, do you have a teddy bear that has a camera on it and like a 7-hour time frame? Wow. It was crazy.
You're a pretty strong lady, Karen J.
Yeah, I know.
Unbelievable.
I know. But yeah, so that topic is pretty close to my heart.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think about it.
Know.
I still think about those.
You had something
unborn children like all the time.
I bet you do.
I do.
Yeah. And I bet everybody who goes through something like that thinks a lot of different things that are their own things to think about, their own private experience,
right,
that we have nothing to say about,
right,
because it wasn't our body.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Good talk, you guys. Whew. When we come back, we're going to talk about how you talk about birth control with your kids. You're listening to The Neighbor Ladies.
Meet your neighbor lady, Karen J. Karen J., who is your shero?
My shero? That's a toss-up between my daughter cub and my late grandmother on my maternal side. My maternal grandmother.
Your female hero. I like that. Why is your maternal grandmother your hero? Your shero?
She was just an amazing woman. She was probably the only one. She was the only one in my family that was normal. She was a feminist. She was a principal. She was a teacher. My mom's side of the family was very matriarchal. Like, you know, the women were the strong ones, and she was just very educated and ahead of her time.
I think you've taken after her.
Aww. I do too.
Yeah, amazing.
And my daughter cub is a little spitfire.
She sure sounds
with
like
you
it.
as her mom. You're damn right she is.
I mean, they both are just like I'm so proud of her. I miss my grandma every day.
Oh, that's nice.
Suzanne?
Shero. Maude.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Maude.
B.
Arthur.
Yeah.
That was a great show.
It's
still very funny.
Yeah.
Have you seen it lately?
I haven't seen it lately.
I wonder what
Norman
she's like.
Lear.
Yes.
Norman Lear is an amazing man. He's my shero.
Boston?
Okay. Joan Rivers. I loved her. Used to sneak out and watch her on the Johnny Carson show when she first got a bit, and I just think she paved the way for so many of us that were in comedy, and she wasn't afraid to be who she was.
Right.
She was a Jewish female comic, you know, and I thought the world of her. I still do. I think we're still reaping the benefits of having Joan on the road.
What about Phyllis Diller?
Loved her too.
Yeah.
This is a tough question. I can't really narrow it down. I think there's a lot of great women in comedy. Lucille Ball, although I didn't like, she had a couple of things she did. She had a clause for her sidekick Ethel. She had to weigh 20 pounds heavier all the time than Lucy.
That's hilarious.
You know? And that was something that once I found that out, she was off the list.
Yeah.
But I watched the show. Anyways, Joan Rivers, to start with. There's so many others too.
I love Joan.
Yeah. A lot of good women.
Yep.
Colleen?
Who is my shero? I am going to say, just for the purposes of our previous conversation, Margaret Sanger.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. The founder of Planned Parenthood. Thank you, Margaret.
Yes.
Yes.
Wherever you are. All right, welcome back. You're listening to the Neighbor Ladies here on the Alive and Social Network. And how do you talk about birth control with your kids?
Well, my kids, when they were little, they found my Kama Sutra book. They were really little. They were like, I'm serious, like 3 and 4. And they were sitting, like, looking through the pictures, and they're like laughing, giggling.
Yeah, but those Kama Sutra books, I mean, aren't those the pictures that are in those books, aren't they like ancient illustrations?
Yes, but, they still saw the parts and they knew what they were.
They're so stylized.
I know.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, of course, we had questions, and I believed in teaching them the real names for their body parts.
Good for you.
Penis, vagina, because I wanted them to, it's important that they know.
Not hoo-ha and ding-a-ling?
Or peanut and what?
Right.
Crotch. I mean, I hate that word. I hate crotch worse than cunt. I do. I got an itchy crotch. I mean, it just sounds so yucky.
My cousin and I would say crotch, and we would laugh and laugh and laugh because somebody was talking about we were in Target, and we heard an older lady say something about the crotch of these pants, and we died. We just died.
I know,
laughing.
it's just a funny word.
And then so in the car on the way home, we all just kept saying they were giggling, and then I was they were in the back seat, and I looked at them through the rearview mirror, and I said, "Are you guys are your pants okay in the crotch?" And they just
that would be it.
So that was it was like crotch.
I used to get the word crotch confused with crochet when I was little.
Yeah. Will you teach me how to crotch?
Well, now that's a thing. That's a thing now with the feminists, vaginal knitting.
Oh my God!
Yeah, I heard about that.
I didn't know I was a trendsetter.
You stick a skein of yarn up your.
Can you imagine?
Up your Watusi,
so
there
if you have any feminist friends and they give you a sweater or a scarf knitted.
Not with all feminists. Can we just say with some?
I know.
Are we talking Afghan pattern here? Or what
some of them do it when they're menstruating. I mean, it's pretty...
Oh, dear Lord. Okay. Well, I mean, I shouldn't be so, I should be more open for them. Mm-hmm. They can have their own yarn supply.
Oh...
Yeah, okay.
How did you guys talk about...
Oh, let's see.
How did you guys talk about...
I was a single parent for a while, and 2 boys.
Birth control with your kids.
And I think it started when my son, and I think maybe I told you this little story about when we were on vacation and he was watching... He was watching television, and he said, "What's morning wood?"
Aww.
Okay.
That's cute.
Yeah.
And so it was time.
Good for you.
Did you guys encourage your kids to masturbate?
I just said that was something that I found them, and I said that is something that you need to do privately.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I just said that what you're doing is totally fine. Just you need to do that privately.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
I told my kids they were going to go blind.
Okay.
Shame on you.
Wait, I just got to ask a question. Did you talk to your kids about birth control?
Oh,
at Boston?
for sure, because they have health class at age 8,
Uh-huh.
so you want to beat that first. And they also had older cousins, so you really had to start at age 2 or 3 in my family system.
Right.
But I'm really lucky because I had a stepmother that talked about sex and things when I was in 4th or 5th grade, which back in the dark ages was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And she was a former Catholic.
Right.
And so it was great. And she and I said, how should I handle this? She says, you need to talk to your kids much, much sooner than I talk to you guys, because everything happens in television and movies
and internet
are so geared towards it.
Right.
Like they see that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the simpler the better. We started out with simple
For
things.
example, what I did, I just gave them all a stinky candle that had a bunch of condoms from Costco jammed into it.
Beautiful. I like that.
That I got from somebody's
Garage sale.
Yeah. Good talk, you guys. You're listening to the Neighbor Ladies here on the Alive and Social Network.